Okay, this is a short explainer for the additional line endings, which is a feature in the Neutronics material maker. So I'm just going to copy and paste this code into my Python window, and I'm going to put a print statement around that MCMP material card. So all this does is it makes a material with a specific material ID. It's water, so it's going to look up water from the internal dictionary, and it needs the temperature and pressure to get the density right. And then it's got this additional line endings, and we'll have a look at what that does. So there we see we've got the MCMP material card printed out, and we've got this additional line at the end. So because it's a list, you can have multiple additional lines. So you could have another line which says something like Neutronics material maker is great if you wanted. And then if you were to run that, you would get a second line. The other thing I should mention is this is a code-specific output. So if you were to duplicate that, but change it for another code, it accepts shift and serpent as well. And you wanted a particular string which would only apply to serpent, something like made with Neutronics material maker, then you can run the code, and you can see that didn't appear in the MCMP output. But if I now add a .serpent material, you can see it's appeared in the serpent output, and the MCMP output is the same. So these are really useful for tailoring material for a particular code. So now I'm going to go to another part of the documentation which talks about reading in materials. So this is when you have a material that you don't have in the internal library. Maybe it's a secret material that you don't want to share, so you have a file on your computer, much like this, and you can import the material and then you can start using it. So how do we add additional lines to such a material? Okay, here is a JSON file called new material, and we're just going to use this example here, which is copied and pasted, and we're going to run that in the terminal. So I'm just going to switch to another part of the documentation now. This is all about using external files which might be on your computer instead of using the internal, or as well as using the internal materials. So this might be a secret material, like the example I've made. Its name is my secret material. It's got a material ID of 60, a density of 1, and a few other properties. It's just made up of hydrogen and carbon. Okay, so that's saved, and we're going to load up the material just like this example does. So I'm importing the material maker, and then I'm adding a material from a file, and then I'm loading up the material that I just added, and then I'm printing out the MCMP version of that material. So there you see just the hydrogen and carbon that was specified, no additional lines. So let's add some additional lines. This is much the same as if you were doing it with the code. However, there's a few minor differences. JSON format prefers double quotes, so all of this will have to be changed to double quotes. And you can see it's highlighted in red there because VS Code knows that that is a mistake. So now we can run that, and we see it's got an additional line there. Now the material ID is 60, So I might just want to change that to 60 for this case as well. No problem. You can do the same with multiple materials and multiple lines. So if we want another line here, comment, random line there, and then we can run it. And of course you can do the same by adding serpent materials. So if you wanted to do that, you would just duplicate this line, but change that to serpent. Don't forget the comma at the end, and maybe we just want just the one line for this. So we'll say made with Neutronics Material Maker, and we'll go back to our example and we'll print out the serpent material as well. There you go, so there's the serpent material with the additional serpent specific line and the MCMP material with the two MCMP specific lines. One more thing I just wanted to show you. If you do have a material ID that you want to fix, connect up, you could do it a bit like this. So this one is 24, and we would just do a string of that variable, concatenated into the string, and then you could change it to whatever you want. And then we can run the example again, and then it's got in the MCMP material has got 60 and 60 connected. Great, thanks for listening, bye.